Welcome back. Saving you money and avoiding food waste. That's the goal of Food Waste Prevention Week, which begins today. And at a time when grocery prices are high and may go higher, preventing food waste could help your bank account. The DNR is tracking food waste in the state, and it may shock you to know just how much of it is going into Wisconsin landfills. Reducing that total could reduce costs for you. And we welcome in Ruth O'Donnell. She is a DNR Organics Waste Management Specialist. So if we take an overarching view here, Ruth, of what Wisconsin is seeing in terms of food waste, how would you categorize that?
Well, we're seeing things in Wisconsin the way many states are seeing them. We're not unique in that matter.
Okay.
I'll tell you, back in 2020, the state did a study of municipal solid waste going into landfills. And the DNR found that wasted food and food scraps made up about 20% of all the materials sent into Wisconsin landfills. So in terms of tons, it's a huge number. It's 854,000 tons of food were going into the landfills. And that's about, 300 pounds per Wisconsinite. So
that's a staggering number.
Deal.
Yeah, that's
it is.
So
isn't that crazy?
It is. So if you try, I realize it's hard to work backwards from this and find out where it's coming, but you probably have some sense of who's contributing the most here. Is it the individual consumer? Is it the grocers with too much? Is it the food service industry? How do you figure out who's kind of like contributing the highest number here?
Sure. Well, we're doing a state-specific study right now.
Okay.
But on a national level, there's been studies, and really, if we're interested in food waste that is going into landfills, we know that the individual or the residences. Okay. That's where the highest number or highest volume of food waste is coming from, and then next to that is food service sectors.
Okay. So Food Waste Prevention Week, kind of, at least from a national perspective, started in California in 2020, Florida in 2021, and then it expanded to 49 states. I don't know how long Wisconsin has participated just in that, but how far back does the attention from the state go on this problem? How long have you guys been looking at this?
Well, I've just been working on it for a year,
right.
But from what I understand, I work for the waste and materials management program, and they've been working on this topic since 2016. And so since that time, you'll see on our website, we have a whole website for reducing food waste at the residential level. And then now we're also kind of beefing that up to expand it to other sectors as well.
In your opinion, since you've been working on this, where do you think food waste prevention begins? Is it at the grocery store? Is it once you're at home and you're preparing your meals? Is it how to have that food ready when you want to prepare the meal? Where does it begin for us, do you think?
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you something that sounds really easy.
Okay.
But we know that people are busy. So
right.
what our mantra is buy only what you need, eat what you buy, and avoid throwing away food. So on a practical point, like you're asking, you really want to plan your meals in advance and make, grocery store lists. Another big thing is understanding that date labels on food don't really indicate safety, with the exception of baby food or infant formula. The best by, use by, expired dates really aren't federally regulated. They indicate maybe quality, but not necessarily safety.
I'm sorry, there was a tool, Ruth, I just want to touch on that while you're there, that I found really fascinating. And you could go to this website and you could click on all the different types of food and how best to determine when it's okay, how you can make it okay for the long term. How much of this really is an education issue?
I think it's a huge education issue.
Okay.
And so that's part of, it's like, I work for the Department of Natural Resources, but I'm educating people on grocery store planning,
right.
Storing food, and other just tips and tricks.
So as you look at this, you've been only in this role for a year now. As you look at ways to educate and get the word out, I understand this is part of it. This week is part of it, but this is a year-long thing. What kind of things will you look at to be able to increase that education, get the word out?
Sure. So, like I mentioned, we're beefing up our web pages to get the word out. We're wanting to do outreach. Just last Saturday, I was in Madison at a science discovery event, and our table revolved around food waste and food waste prevention. There are also municipalities and communities that are taking up the topic. And so at the state level, helping out these municipalities and cities to really tailor the message to their residents.
Ruth, as you look down the line here, how will you measure progress? I know that the last waste study, the numbers that we draw on, that was 4 or 5 years ago. You mentioned you're out in the field doing detailed studies now. What will real progress look like, do you think?
Well, we have a goal to reduce the landfill food waste by 50% by 2030. And so what the DNR will use is kind of our metric is we're planning on doing another waste characterization study in upcoming years to hopefully see that that the numbers have come down. We'll also gauge, how many municipalities are getting on board. We'll keep track of how many composting facilities come on board because, invariably there's going to be excess food, and that can be recycled. So we'll look at how many compost facilities come on board or biodigesters come on board. There's some metrics.
All right, we'll keep an eye on those metrics, and if you want some more information, Ruth provided us a bunch of links. We'll have those on our website at WBAY.com. Ruth, thanks so much for the time.
Thank you, Chris.